going to fuck with her bio a little. So I'm going to read her bio and at the end of it, a little extra. Okay? So Megan Kruse is the author, I'm trying to read this, of the acclaimed novel Call Me Home.
Yeah!
Released by Hawthorne Books in 2015, with an introduction by Elizabeth Gilbert. Clearly I can't read well. She's the 2015-16 visiting writer in residence for Eastern Oregon University's Low Residency MFA program. And I love this other bit about her. She's also the one half of the After the Rose, a weekly podcast with her best friend Molly about ABC's terrible Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Bachelor in Paradise brackets. For which she's both proud and sorry. Okay, so this is the bit that I'm adding on. So I know Megan from like 2006 when I left my ex and moved into this little baby dyke house. And so I was a housemate with Megan, and she was like phenomenal back then too. And I remember her reading I think a chapter or something, like as a short story that you'd written, and I was just like blown away. And I was like, damn, she knows how to write. And I had this like secret wish that the world would get to see her work. And I'm just so chuffed, which is a South word of like really, really pleased. I'm really, really chuffed that your work is out in the world, and I'm just quite honored that I get to introduce you. So, Megan.
It's like I'm like an old musical or something. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is my, sure. No, you're fine. It's this ungainly type I have. Thank you so much for having me, everyone, and for letting me kind of guest in on Burnt Tongue. I think the work that you do is incredible, and this is the second time I've got to be part of it. So thank you, Donnie, for putting it together, and Lisa for that. It was definitely just the quintessential baby dyke house. Like, we were all like, when's the dance night? And then we were like, oh, now I'm dating the person who lives downstairs. Like, so. Welcome to Portland 2002. I'm sorry. I drove up here today from Seattle, where I live, and I totally did not print out my work, so please excuse the douchebaggery of the phone. But I'll just hold it. This is called Home in 8 parts. 1. It's hardly visible on a map, but they still live there. Their trailers sinking deeper into the loam that exists to me less and less as a physical place, and instead as a skein of roots darkening the underside of my skin. First, low to the earth, we were miles from the nearest house, and in the dim space between afternoon and nightfall, I slipped under the trees. I spent that sliver of shadowy time lying on the moss, the damp soaking through my jeans, my hands slipping them down, pressing a flat stone against my clit, a smooth stick inside me. My body disgusted and entranced me. Each day I told myself to stay inside, and each day I lowered myself down under the leaves with armfuls of perverse treasures, a long strand of grass, a pine cone I dragged over my skin, the moon rising like a thumbnail pressed into the sky but between the clouds, and the rain falling across me like a curtain. 2. I still get so nervous here. Sorry. But before I was old enough to disappear myself, my father disappeared me with him into those woods. I was small enough that the salal surrounded me, their leaves licking me like tongues. I understood these were secrets before I understood what secrets were. The long glass pipe that blinked between the trees, the flame that lit from the cup of his hand, the sour smoke lacing the air around me. Rain dripped into my shirt collar. I stared into the woods and saw nothing. Already, I understood that this existed outside of the world as we agreed it to be. 3. When I began to read, I also began to steal books. I wanted passages I couldn't just ask for. I wanted to hear how other people described the things that rolled between my mind and the damp between my legs. I was already beginning to understand that there was a wire pulled tight between language and the body, that there was power in naming something. 4. During the years that I was a prostitute, I watched myself in the mirror as I snaked the metal teeth of a dress zipper up my bare back, and then again in the mirrors above 100 bureaus as the men zipped them back down again. When I arrived home at the end of the day and the dress drifted back to the floor, I believed so completely that nothing had happened that I did not believe it to be a deceit. I was still prostituting when I lived with the woman I was engaged to be married to, and I believed that my life with her could exist alongside the life where I was someone to be bought. It seemed like I could have all these things, and who would be hurt for the difference? It seemed that the only casualty was a small and hungry pain, a cleft on the deep, far side of my heart. By extension, it seemed I could do anything. Who was integrity for if what was remembered became history and memory was creation? 5. As I tired of them, I buried the books one by one deep in the woods. Once, overcome with regret, I searched for them, dredging up the dirt, but every page had already been swallowed. Maybe they never existed at all. 6. I have trouble looking my father in the eye. It haunts me the way I see him. A memory of a moment last year when I had to tear him from a room. He was attacking someone and I had to tear him away. I was screaming. He shook me off and disappeared. I cried for hours. That night was the first time in my life that I felt sadness so acute I couldn't lift myself from the bed. Outside the door was a hall that led to my father, and I wanted to help him, and I wanted to kill him, and I couldn't stand. If my father tried to teach me one thing, it was that you can hide your separate selves. You can be everyone and no one, hold everything and nothing. When I think now how he broke my heart, it was in fact because I thought he could keep hiding. 7. I've offered my body to hundreds of people and searched their eyes, and with their hands moving deep inside me, wanted more. I begged for their intimacy and exhausted their hearts, and when they have turned away, I have understood that they deserved better. There are moments when I feel the pieces of myself steep together, when I can speak of my body as its hungry, bitten self, how it consumes, and I understand myself to have acted always out of a desire to know the world, to know the people in it, though I have acted wrongly. There are moments when I can almost tell the truth about what happened in those woods so long ago. There are moments when I can almost say the words, slender and fragile, a single trillium on a slick, dark hillside. And then just as quickly they're gone. 8. This dark rolls through me. It exists now around and inside me, displaced from the map. 100 times I came hard against stones, the things I've done, the smell of vinegar, the shape of 1,000 hands on my body. Beneath the dirt, the pages disintegrating to words, to letters, their tones intoxicating and incriminating, each one of them still speaking my name. Thank you.